You were born in Port Anson?
Yes.
Port Anson in 1950.
No, 1930. 1939.
Okay. Well, you're 2 years older than me. I mean, 2 years younger than me. When were you born? 34.
He's the old guy in our family.
So, anyway, I'll get some of this lovely tea.
Billy was born he's 5 years older than me. You're 5 years older than I am. You are.
And you were one of how many kids?
There was 10 sisters and 5 brothers. One brother was.
The tape's coming out of the back of it.
Yeah, I know, that's the problem. The wheels are going around the wrong way.
What?
Five brothers?
I have 4 brothers living, 1 brother died, and I have 10 sisters, and I'm the oldest of the family. And my grandma had 9 children, and they all lived next door to us, except for 2 of the girls lived in Springdale, and one of the boys, my oldest uncle, Gary, lived in Springdale.
And your mom was from the same area?
My mom was born in Port Anson.
So, yeah. So, and your dad?
And my dad.
Everybody from Port Anson?
Yeah.
All your kids were born in Port Anson?
Yep.
All at home or in the hospital?
I think the last.
Leon was born in the hospital.
Yes, Leon was born in the hospital, and the baby before him that died was in the hospital.
Oh, you're the last one. Huh?
My grandma was a midwife.
Oh.
She lived next door to us. She bore 365 children.
Oh, 1 year's worth. One for every day.
Well, she traveled from Robert's Arm, Triton,
The whole
of Green Bay, Port Anson, Miles Cove, Wellman's Cove.
Well, isn't that difficult for somebody who's related to deliver children of a relative? Like, your grandma delivering your mom's? That was her daughter, wasn't it?
No,
That's the other grandma.
that was my dad's mother.
Oh, okay.
Was the midwife. My mom's mom died when I was very young. I remember her, but she was very sick. She had bad legs. And
varicose veins?
Well, I don't know. We don't know because there was no hospitals. She couldn't walk. So she spent quite a few years in bed. Now, I remember when we lived over in Nipperco, there's a place across the bay, across the Tickle, we call it.
Yeah.
We lived in log cabins. That was when there was Dad and there was Lonzo Fudge, there was Stan, George Bounds, and Hearn Martin, and several of the younger guys that were Dad's age. They all had log cabins over across.
They built them themselves?
Yeah, they were over there logging, I guess. There used to be, when I was growing up in Port Anson, there was, Uncle Tim had a huge mill across the Tickle, and Burton's had a big mill, and Wiseman had a big mill up in the harbor. So there was lots of mills.
And there was lots of lumber.
Lots of lumber, yeah.
So, when you say a log cabin, was it made with cut lumber, or did they use logs?
It was logs.
They just notched the logs.
Yeah, and they stuffed the seams with moss.
Yeah.
And we had 1 bedroom.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's all. I remember 1 bedroom because Mom and Dad had a double bed, or I guess a double bed. And on the side of the bedroom, they had a bunk built up. And when Nanny used to come over and visit us, my mom's mom, Nanny Burton, I used to sleep with her. But
How
the
old would you
only
have been?
reason why I remember that,
How old would you have been then?
no,
Six or-
no,
Less than that?
I was about 4.
And you can remember that?
Yeah,
clearly?
yeah.
She's got a better memory than me, Bill.
Yeah, I was about 4 years old. I remember, the reason why I remember that is because I got up one morning to use the teapot
Yeah.
that Mom and Dad had underneath their bed.
And you
And-
spilled it?
No, there was a pig underneath the bed.
What? Along with the peapot?
Yeah, a big pig. Anyways, when I went to reach for the pot, the pig was coming out at me. So I jumped in Mom's and Dad's bed, and I
Or sound asleep.
no, I was wide awake.
No, they are.
They were. I woke up Dad and Mom, and I told them there's a pig underneath the bed. To get up. See, we had a pig at that time out in the pen, and so what Dad thought then that the pig had got out of the pen and somehow he got
Right
into
in
the
the
house.
house.
So Dad got up, and he looked, and there was he couldn't see no pig underneath the bed. But I kicked up such a fuss. He went out to see if the pig was out of the pen, but it wasn't. It was.
This is a strange pig.
It was a regular looking pig. It was a pinky white color, you
Yeah,
know.
but where did the pig come from?
I have no idea.
Did your dad shoot him?
No, it was a ghost pig. It was a
Wait a
ghost.
minute now. It wasn't alive? You just saw a
The
ghost?
pig disappeared,
Just like that?
just like that.
Gee.
So, the reason why I remember that so much is because of that pig, I guess. Because Nanny was sleeping with me in the bunk. I remember that. And we were sleeping on the right hand side of the room. And Mom's and Dad's, the room was facing this way. Mom's and Dad's bed was here, and our bunk was built up on this side of the room. What else do I remember at that age? I remember
This is at 4 years old.
yeah.
Oh, what a memory. Folks, Dulcey's got the best memory of everybody in this room.
I remember Joy Martin. She's a little bit older than I am, not that much. I remember she went and got a box of raisins from her mom. The raisins used to come in little square boxes like this. And we ate all the raisins. I remember that.
At one setting, like
Outside, yeah, we went
you
outside.
took them out, you stole the box of raisins.
Oh, she did.
She-
Joy,
oh,
I
oh,
thought
yeah, of
she-
course.
Well,
Of course,
maybe,
Bill, the other person.
maybe her mom gave her the raisins, but I know she had a box of raisins that she wasn't supposed
How
to
much?
have.
2 pounds, 3 pounds, 5
Oh
pounds?
no, it's only probably a half a cup. They were about 8 ounces in a pack of raisins. These come in square boxes.
Yeah, okay.
Uh,
I'll
and
bet they were good.
and I remember George Bounds was married to a girl from Port Anson, and she was having a baby, and she made a laundry bag with the strings, tie strings, and she had worked in the laundry bag a bunny rabbit, and she had the full size of the flour sack bag.
Sure.
Was what
yeah,
they used for,
for cloth.
and she died in childbirth.
And did the baby live?
Yes, the baby did live. It was a little girl, but he gave the baby to a relative that lived in Badger somewhere, and she didn't grow up at home. And he never did marry again. But
You wonder what the husband thinks, you know. 'Cause
meanwhile,
I know when Carl was born,
yeah,
if you don't mind me going. Anyway, my wife was up here, and my wife was screaming. Carl had a huge head. I got a big head. She had a big head. Carl had a big head. And so it was having a hard time coming out. And my wife was screaming like that. Boy, did I feel bad. I could hear it. The doctor said, "Get out of here. It looks like you're going to faint." and went down the other end of the hospital.
Yeah.
So you wonder, like, if the man that lost his wife in childbirth, what he felt.
Yes, he must
Because,
have.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
'cause it was his first wife, yeah.
Did you ever get in trouble when you were 4 years old?
Not that I remember.
5?
No.
6?
No.
7? Come on. By 7, you must have done something.
No, don't remember.
Were you a good little girl?
Yeah. Yeah, I went to church with Grandma. When we lived over in Nippers Cove, Dad was building the house in Port Anson. I remember when we left Nipper Cove in the winter and moved to Port Anson, we were on the sleigh. It was coming springtime.
Right across the ice?
Yeah. We had horse and sleigh.
Right across the ice?
Yeah.
Isn't that dangerous?
Well,
I mean, across it.
well, Dad used to go over there in the winter with
Yeah.
the horse, and we'd go with him and pull all of this wood over in the winter from the other side of the island in the winter. I remember it's one winter when there was, it was spring, and the men were bringing out their wood because there wasn't much wood on the island, so we had to go across.
This is
Yeah.
firewood? Firewood, yeah.
Yeah, everybody brought their wood over. And it was a really warm day, and the ice had melted quite a bit, I guess, while the guys were in the bush. And when they came out, there was 3 horses fell in the ice down by Herb Budge's place. And
Would they
we
get-
were out on the ice, and the waves from the water, where they were trying to get the horse out, was making the ice go like this.
Oh.
In waves, yeah.
Lifting up and going down with the
Yeah,
wave action
yeah.
underneath. Oh, it was
That's-
thin.
Yeah, but the horse didn't drown. They got it out with ropes and everything. All the men helped.
That would be a real.
Yeah.
Because a horse, have you ever known a horse that was under 800 pounds? I haven't.
No.
Every horse I knew tried to get 800 pounds up on the ice.
Newfoundland ponies are a little bit,
Were the ponies light? Little?
lighter than ours.
Well, most of the horses down there were Clydesdales.
That's a big horse.
Those big horses, yeah.
We're talking.
Because the men in Wellman's Cove was on our island, but on the back.
Right.
All the Wellmans, they had all Clydesdale horses.
And of course, everybody shoed their own horses? Or
Yes.
did they bother?
Yeah, no, they shoot them.
So you had a blacksmith in town?
No, the men all did their own work.
They were able to do that all themselves?
Yeah. My grandpa used to do shoes,
Uh-huh.
taps on shoes
Yeah.
when before he got really old. I remember that.
Have you ever been stepped on by a horse? On your foot?
No,
Have you, Bill?
What's that?
Been stepped on by a horse's hoof?
No, no.
Gee, that's painful. Anyway, back to the, okay, now, we got up to 7 and you were a good little girl up to 7. 8, 9,
10 years old, I was out working.
what?
Yeah,
You were working out of home, you went
Yeah.
over?
yeah.
How long and what did you do?
I was a servant girl.
Yeah.
Let me see. I worked for in the summer when school was closed. I went out service with my Aunt Georgina for all summer, and I worked for Aunt Meady all summer. And I used to work for Grandma and my Aunt Ivy.
Tell them what you did. What you said.
Well, what you did was, because they all had very big families, what you did was do all the cleaning, scrubbing floors. We had to bring all the water with the buckets, 2.5 gallon buckets. We had a wooden hoop.
You carried on your
No, the hoop spread your arms apart and stop the water.
one
from
bucket
flowing.
on each side?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're carrying 5 gallons of water at 10 years old?
Yeah,
Shoes.
You know how much that is? You're small. That's 40 pounds.
yeah, I know.
You mustn't have weighed at 10 more than 80, 60 maybe.
80 pounds.
80 pounds,
At 10 years old, maybe 80 pounds?
maybe, or 75. I was very tiny.
Well, you weigh less than 80 then.
Yeah, I was
You must have been strong.
I was strong because, see, home you worked all the time anyways because you helped Mom and Dad. We used to bring in all the wood, and I used to help Dad saw off the wood, and we'd get all the splits for him, and we'd peel all the birch rind off the. So we'd have everything for winter.
Fish on the plate.
And we used to put the fish on the flakes, and you called
Oh,
it
what are
a
flakes?
scaffold.
What are flakes?
A flake is like the wharf with boughs on it.
A wharf with clouds on it.
Yeah,
Fine.
pine boughs.
Yeah.
And you spread the fish on the boughs,
The codfish.
the codfish.
Well,
And-
they were split.
Yes, they were split and salted.
And they salted it too.
Yeah, split and salted. And you couldn't have no rain on the fish. If it was going to rain, we had to go out and bring them all in. And if the clouds went, we went and packed them all back out again. Because you had to have them dried.
Yeah. Otherwise, the merchant wouldn't pay you. Huh?
No, this was for our own self for the winter.
But they would spoil. They got what?
Yes, if it rained on fish, it would they would spoil, right? So
Well,
So
okay.
we
So you're
called
doing all
them-
of these things. What did you pay? Anything?
I worked $5 a month.
Wow.
And there I used to do the dishes, wash the clothes. I had a scrub board and a big tub, and I used to wash the bed clothes
Yeah.
in the scrub board on the scrub board, and we had hang everything out on the line. There was no electricity in the town when I was growing up, so everything was done by hand. You had to bring in all your wood for the stove for the fire.
And you had to
you-
boil the water for your.
Yeah, for the laundry. Yes, and then you had to soak it in bleach, and you did 2 or 3.
What did you use for bleach? Was it commercial bleach?
We had jealous lye.
And then you used to wash your mats down on the beach in salt water.
We had all hand knit mats, handmade mats, hooked.
Was that what you slept on, the mats?
No, those were on the floor.
Oh, rugs.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
we call them mats.
Okay,
but they're
yeah, sure.
hooked. They're handmade hooked mats with the pussycats in them and
Yeah,
the dogs and the
Do
flowers.
you know what those are worth nowadays?
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
They
those
still
hanky-
make them home.
Do they?
Yeah.
And that's where they tear up strips of cloth,
Yes.
and then they kind of
Yes.
make a ropey.
My grandma used to have a barrel come at least once a year, and it was called the net rate barrel. And she would it would come from Grand Falls because Grandpa's sister lived in Grand Falls, and every year she sent out the barrel, and it would have coats and pants and everything in it, and we would always get clothes that was wearable from the net rate barrel. And Grandma, there was one long tweed coat in there, a wool one. It was beautiful, brown tweed, and Grandma made me a nice suit out of it.
Is that right? Out of the one?
My grandma was a professional sewer. That
Okay.
she learned that herself.
That was
everything.
not the midwife. That was the other.
Yes, that's the midwife,
She
Grandma
was a
Rice.
midwife and a professional.
Yeah. And everything else.
Yeah.
She had gardens, huge gardens that they even had vegetables to sell, and they fished all year.
Milk cow.
And they had cows, and I must have been about 7 maybe when the last cow lived. Her name was Lil. And I remember us being in the garden, and Grandpa had Lil tied up to a post, and he had the gun pointed at her.
Oh,
And I think she knew that, like, it was going to be, because she was sort of a pet at that time. And she looked away from the gun when they shot her. Yeah, I remember that. We were so sad.
oh, gosh. How old was Lil?
Who was Lil?
Yeah.
She was an old cow.
Old cow, yeah.
I don't remember if they ate her or not. I don't remember that part.
Oh, somebody.
And Grandma had pigs as well, and Grandpa used to blow up the bladder and give it to us for a football.
Of course,
And,
he rinsed it out first.
Yeah, well, they live right by the water. And I remember one day I was over to Grandpa's and he killed a couple of chickens. and the chickens had their head off, and they were running out in the water with no end.
I guess that
I
would.
thought that
I guess you
was-
wouldn't forget that.
No, that was funny.
You wouldn't forget that. Well, I've
Yeah.
gotten nowhere with Dulcie as far as smoking is concerned, folks. She just rolled herself another weed.
Stop doing that.
Anyway, Dulcie, I wish you'd quit, but I guess.
I am going to quit.
Yeah, because it. Anyway, now. So you raised all your own food and you preserved all your own food. I've heard that everything but the squeal on a pig can be used. I never heard about using the bladder.
I
for
don't remember anything because if it was a pet, I didn't want to eat it. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
but how
eat
did
it.
you know?
Well, when I was small, I wouldn't know. No, Dad killed a pig. I wouldn't eat it because I used to ride the pig's back.
You were a tomboy. You were.
Well, we had this big pig, and it was like a pet to us, right? And in the morning, I used to show him his food through the crack of the door in the porch, and you could hear him squealing all over the town
Oh.
for his food. And I used to get on his
Did you
back.
name him? That's the thing I've heard on a farm. You name an animal and you aren't going to eat that animal. Have you ever heard that, Bill?
No,
Yeah, because it
I was
becomes a
always
pet.
too hungry.
It becomes a pet.
We weren't starving when we were growing up. We had lots of vegetables, and we ate a lot of rabbit, and we berry picked all summer. Dad would take the whole family berry picking, and we would pick a full barrel of berries in a
And you
day.
had your fish, your capon.
We had we had smoked capelin, we had smoked herring, we had
Mackerel.
salmon, mackerel, and yeah, we had lots to eat, even though we had a big. But my dad never stopped a minute.
He was working all the time.
In the winter, he was cutting his wood and everything, and bringing his wood across,
Knit socks.
and he was knitting nets all winter.
Making his own fish nets.
His own fish net. He always had his chair set up and a hook on the wall, and that's where he would sit and knit all winter. Made his own cast net balls with the lid, melt it down on the stove and stuff.
But all the time he was knitting, he would always be telling stories.
Those I would have liked, and
Yeah.
you would have
They
liked.
were priceless.
They
Yeah.
should have been. You
Yeah.
know,
And another thing, Dad used to fur for Datsun's Bay Company all winter.
trap.
Yeah. He had mink, he had link, he had
Martin.
otter, and he had beaver,
Martin,
and martin, I guess. Yeah.
Did you ever go around the trap line with him?
Uh,
Did he take you along the trap line ever?
No, no, but we used to be always out in the boat with Dad and stuff. We were out in the boat one day, and the punt, Dad was going around the shore, and he said, "If you guys see a mink, let me know." And just as he said that, Dad said, "Sure." Floss was with us, right? Floss said, "Sure, Dad," she said, "there are thousands in there." And Dad thought she was telling a lie, right? And he looked in, and the mink was going everywhere, all over the rocks. So my dad was raising mink
Oh.
for a while.
Oh yeah.
And that day, we were out, and we were on a little Rodney. That's a small rowboat, right?
Okay.
And a big whale came right up underneath our Rodney.
Lifted you up in the air?
I was scared to death. I started crying. Dad had to go ashore with me and Floss. We were frightened to death. Yep. That's the first time I ever saw a whale up close.
Up close. He was underneath you.
Yeah. And he had barnacles all over him.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, see, the island where we are now, there was no causeway across. And out in the Tico, there used to be potted whales, and they come in about 20 and 30 at a time. And they'd be all going down, they'd go down.
Right down the tickle.
Right down, yeah.
Huh. They never hunted them. Your dad or your.
No, we never hunted whales,
Yeah.
no.
seals. Seals.
Well, wait a
Seals?
minute now. One of the times you told me, and I remember this, somebody got stuck in a net and went overboard.
No,
How was that? How did that
not
work?
stuck in a net.
On a rope?
No, nobody that I know ever got
They had to
stuck.
fish them out of the water.
Oh, here,
Was
that
it a
was,
trap?
no, Hayward Burton from home went down through the ice on his skidoo. And there was another girl drowned at home on a skidoo. She went underneath the ice. They couldn't find her. When we were down in Fish on Islands, which is off of St. Anthony, where Dad and Mom fish for the summer, they've got a basking shark in their net. They tore the net, the basking shark. How many barrels of liver did they get out? 11?
11 barrels per.
Yeah, 11
One
barrels.
shark.
22 feet shark, 11 barrels per.
Well,
See,
how much in a barrel?
45-gallon barrel.
Yeah.
Holy
They
cow.
so it was huge. It was as big as a whale, right?
And you could sell the oil?
Well, they sold the liver, yeah.
Now, somewhere along the line, was it that girl, John's daughter? What happened to her?
Okay.
Is that the one?
My
that was
brother
in the-
Eli lived right on the water,
Yeah.
down in the garden,
Yeah.
just down from Sharon's place. And Sharon was over visiting Eli, and Sonia is the name of the girl.
Sonia, yeah.
She was a little girl, about 3 maybe, like 3 years old.
Yeah.
She went out in the water and she was drowned. And she was floating when they got her. And so she got brain damage.
But she lived.
But she lived.
Yeah,
Eli.
Leon drowned too until
Yeah,
Leon
Leon-
went underwater too?
Greg saved her. Greg saved
yeah.
him.
Leon also fell overboard off the wharf and he was floating and they got him and brought him back to life. Yeah. My brother Eli brought Sonia back to life. She was gone.
He just kept working on her?
He kept working on her and yeah.
Artificial respiration?
Yeah, he did everything, yeah. He brought her back.
The only thing wrong with Leon, he's a fisherman, so it did do some brain damage.
Leon never got no brain damage.
And it never kept him off the water either.
Yeah.
I can attest to that.
Sonia, Leon was about 2 years old then when that happened. They were off on the water. It's a wonder we weren't all drowned because we lived on water. In the spring, when the ice would break up, we'd have copy dance.
I know what
The
you
big
did.
sheets with a stick, and
And you jump from one to one.
we would play steamers with them and go right across the tickle with them with a big stick.
Roll
And
them
land them
across.
over on the island, and then we'd come back and get them.
Oh. Gee. And you guys didn't know how to swim?
I don't know how to swim, no.
Not to this day?
No.
Not many of them do.
It's too cold to learn how.
Well, Sophie can swim like a fish.
There were freshwater lakes that warmed up, weren't there?
Yes, at Miles' Cove, as there's 3 lakes down there.
Yeah, you could have learned to swim.
Well, actually, I was working most
I
of
think
the
it's
time.
just-
I never learned how to swim.
It keeps a certain fear of water in there.
There was no beach where we lived to swim in because the rocks, and then there was big drop-offs. We used to go out in the water, but we were too scared to go out any farther.
Okay, now where Leon
Lives.
now, is that where your dad?
That's where my dad's house was.
Is that the one next door?
Well, Leon lived in it.
No, Leon's living in it.
Whose house is next door?
That was Leon's, he built.
Leon, and then when your dad passed away, he moved into.
Yeah. Because he was looking after Mom and Dad, and he needed a bigger house, so he gave him Dad's and Mom's house.
Well, no.
My grandma lived just over in the garden. That house is gone now. And Uncle Jack lived between Grandma and us, and Uncle Billy lived up on that side of the hill, but he moved his house down in Grandma and Grandpa's garden, Grandma Race's garden.
What would you raise in the garden? What were-
Carrots, turnip, cabbage, potatoes,
Beets,
and beets.
carrots.
And the rabbits you talked about, those are wild rabbits, right?
Yeah, what we ate.
You snared them in the woods?
My dad did, yeah. We
Yeah,
always had rabbits. Dad was a good hunter.
I guess. so.
Yeah,
In a family
every
like that.
Sunday he'd have some kind of meat. He'd have rabbit, or we'd have moose, or he would go out and catch ducks. He was,
With a shotgun.
yeah, he'd
Did
always
you ever
come
eat
over.
puffins or anything like that?
Murs.
Murs or puffins or?
No, we ate murs. I guess they call them turs, like they're murs.
Yeah.
Murs and ducks, black ducks.
Oh, they're nice duck.
Yeah, so we eat the black duck and murs, but popping. I can't remember eating the popping, but I guess they did. I don't know.
I've been reading all kinds of Newfoundland books recently, and yeah, they talked about they used to catch them in nets. The Murs, I think they were. They would fly along the cliffs, and the Eskimos used nets.
Okay.
These weren't the Newfoundlanders; these were the Eskimos. They made nets and they'd whip them out of the air like you catch a butterfly with them.
Okay. Yeah, Dad used to shoot them.
Yeah. He loaded his own shells, of course.
Dad made his own shells.
Yeah. Did anybody ever hunt with a bow and arrow?
Yeah, Leon does.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, they hunt, boy, I'll tell you.
Leon is a good hunter.
With a bow and arrow?
Yeah.
He's about as good a hunter as I've ever seen.
Well, that time I was going along with him and we were looking for bears, we went out to the dump. And he was going to show me bears. No bears showed up, but on the way out, he's driving, and it wasn't a very good road. It was just a couple of ruts going through the woods. And we cross over this culvert and go along. Did you see the duck? He said to me. I said, what duck? He says, back there. So he stops the car, and you know how they drive. Wait, right back. Yeah. Stopped right on the culvert and looked up. And there were the circles where the duck had been. You could tell it had been. I would never. Hey, I was worried about us hitting a tree, not much of us looking for ducks.
He's got
eyes, boy.
And ears. He can see a moose in the woods a mile away.
Yeah, well, when we were out on the ocean, he says, "See that whale?"
Yeah.
I said, "What do you mean?"
And Eli is the same. Eli's got a really sharp sense of hunting and fishing.
Yeah.
And Reggie is totally different. Reggie will go hunting, but he hasn't got the sharp senses that Leon's got,
The instinct.
Leon he can see it, shoot it, have it bleeding and hacked up before you could even wonder what's happening.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, it was a good life. I mean, we
only got up to 10 years old. What was school like? Being an ex-teacher, I got to ask you about that. You said that there were some hard-case teachers there.
Yes.
Really.
I had.
After.
Yes. See, the thing was, or maybe I puts it down to that. I don't know. The teachers were all united, and we were Pentecost, and they used to call us the Clit.
The what?
The Clit.
The
The Clit. They called us the Mission Clit. They looked down on Lobster Harbor, Crouch. Everybody had big families, and we were Pentecostal, and they looked down on us.
The teachers were all
The teachers were all united, and I think in those times, if you were a teacher, you thought you were above everybody else, even though you only had grade 11, because the teachers didn't know any more than the students.
Some of the kids.
Exactly. But, down there, if you have an office job, or if you're a teacher, or anything else, they think that they're better than anyone else, right?
Not now.
Oh, well, I'm sure it's still around, yeah.
You think so?
Yes. It doesn't change that, they think.
Well, what did you like in school? I mean, there must recess and lunch. That's what I found that kids will say.
No, I didn't well, I guess I liked recess. I don't remember too much, but lunch, we never had lunch in school. We'd come home for lunch.
You would?
Yeah, we had to walk a mile home for lunch, and we'd eat our lunch and go right back to school again. Nobody
How
ate.
much time did you have for lunch?
None. By the time you got home and ate your lunch. I remember having hot chocolate in school, and I would drink the water off and save the chocolate for lunch for Mom.
So you bring it home to her?
Yeah.
That was such good of you.
And if someone rich there were some people we thought was richer than others. They had candy and stuff. They would give me a candy. I wouldn't eat it. I would take it home to my mom.
Oh.
Yeah. And if someone had an apple, you would ask for the core.
Why?
Because,
Would you eat the core?
yeah, we couldn't afford apples. And so
Would you bring it home and cook it?
No, I would eat the core.
And the seeds?
Yeah. It was better than nothing. I guess that's everybody did that. You had an apple, someone had an apple, and they would ask for the core.
And did some of the kids bring their lunches, or everyone?
No, nobody brought lunches.
Everybody was.
It wasn't done.
No, wasn't done. We used to have to bring a junk of wood to school with us every morning, so we'd have wood for the school to warm up.
Each kid brought a chunk.
Yeah.
Carried it
We
a
had a
mile.
big oil drum in the middle
Yeah,
of the school.
yeah. That would get red hot, wouldn't it?
It kept it warm, yeah. In the mornings it would be pretty cool. We had an outdoor toilet though,
Oh.
and it was freezing guns.
Boy, one time I got invited. I never grew up in a house that didn't have indoor plumbing. But one time I got invited out to my Johnson friend's house in the winter, and they had an outhouse. And this is back in Minnesota, and it was like minus 25 degrees Fahrenheit. And boy, did I learn how to go in a hurry.
Yeah,
Gee, and there was a draft under there.
yeah,
Yeah. That cold.
yeah.
Man.
We all wore warm snow pants,
Yeah.
but we weren't allowed to wear pants. We had to wear dresses over our pants.
To school?
Yeah.
That's so silly. Isn't that silly?
I know that was the rule. You couldn't wear men's pants. That's the Pentecost.
Well, but you'd put on,
We wear snow pants and we put a dress over top.
well, now, what would you study? When you were in school?
We had Spot, Run Jay, Dick
Yeah?
Jay,
Spot was a dog, wasn't it?
yeah, and Puff the cat.
And Dick and Jane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had reading, arithmetic, spelling, and history and geography.
Yeah. Which one did you like? Geography, maybe?
I didn't know arithmetic at all. My mom and dad had no education, and they couldn't teach us
Yeah.
because they didn't know either.
And if the teacher didn't want to?
And the teacher had no time for us. And so you put your hand up. You weren't allowed to talk in school,
Yeah.
and they would ignore you. You let your arm drop off.
Well, what?
And when I was in grade 7, I had a teacher called Ackyard. And he was only interested in teaching United. He wasn't interested in Pentecost children at all. We had no help whatsoever. I would stay in after school till the lamp was lit to try to figure out my homework, and he wouldn't come to the table and ask you, what is your problem? What is it you can't do? No, he wouldn't open his mouth to you.
Isn't that something?
No. And anyways, Fridays we had art. And
What's that?
art,
What's art?
drawing.
Huh?
Drawing.
Oh, art. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so he told us that we could draw anything that we wanted, okay?
Yeah.
So I had a dictionary, and in there was a little flower, and I thought it was called Glad Lewis, but it was a gladiolus.
Yes.
But see, we didn't know because I'd never seen
You
it.
never heard the word?
Never heard the word. No. And so I took this little tiny picture, you know what they are in
Yeah,
the
sure. Yeah, a little
dictionary,
black picture. Yeah.
and I drew it the full size of my scribbler,
Yeah.
and it was really nice.
Yeah.
And because I spent the whole evening at it, and he came to my desk and he said, "You traced it." He said, "You traced it in."
Yeah.
And I said, "No, I didn't." I said, I'll show you the picture where I got it. He says, "I don't want to see it because you traced it." He said, "You didn't do it." And I said, "Well, I didn't." And he said, "You're going to stay in after school." He said, "For the next week."
Why?
Because he wouldn't believe me, right?
You thought you were lying.
Yeah, but he wouldn't look to see where I got the picture from.
Yeah.
And I said, "I don't care." Right? By this time, I'm getting mad.
Yeah.
Then he says, and you're going to get a strap every day. And I said, I don't care. And he said, if you say I don't care anymore, he said, you're going to get a strap right now. And I said, I don't care. I jumped up from my desk, I took all my books, and I threw them at him. And I walked out. I never went back.
That was the last day of school?
Yeah, that was grade 7.
That was the end.
I went home and told Dad I quit school. That was it. I wasn't going back. Dad said, please yourself. So I went out service.
Yeah. And you, at grade 7, you were 13?
Yeah.
Or 14?
13 probably.
So after that, you never went back to school?
No.
But you read now and do everything?
Oh, yes.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Even Mom and Dad taught themselves from helping the children. You know, Mom could write. She only had grade 3. And my dad too, but they were helping us with our schoolwork and stuff, so they learned as well, right? My mom used to write me letters all the time.
Is there anything that sharpened their wit?
Yeah. So I figured there's no point in staying in school. I had no help. I was getting behind on arithmetic. I had no help. Nobody would help you. And nobody knew how to
What
help.
about some of your friends? They
All younger?
They were all younger than you?
Yeah. Well, it was no point.
No, so you went out, you call it service, that was where you were
You left
a
home.
servant.
Yes, you're a servant girl.
Did you find somebody that was really nice to work for?
Yeah, well, see, the thing was, you did what you were told, and you never talked back to people. If they said, I want you to clean the wood ceiling today, that's what you did, right? So you got up, you did the dishes, you did the dusting, you made the bed, you brought in the wood, you fixed your lamps for the night, and you'd sweep the floors, and you'd do all the ironing and washing, whatever. I mean,
How would you fix a lamp?
you
What
fill
do you
it
do?
full of kerosene oil and clean the chimney.
What about the wick? Did you have to put wick?
Yeah, we had wicks. Yeah, you trimmed the wick. That was every day going, and then you, because you had to have all the pots in the house and wash them, and then you would put it into the slop pail, and then you take the slop pail to the toilet and dunk it down there, and then you'd wash out the pail, put J-Slute in it.
That's a disinfectant?
Yeah.
Did
So-
you ever use, what do you call it, lye? L-Y-E? Lye
they
for-
use
for
lime.
disinfect- They use lime.
For the toilets.
Yeah,
and
the outdoor.
disinfectant lime.
Yeah.
They
There used to be a
also
can of
painted
that.
with it.
There used to be a can of that in the corner of this outhouse. And when you got through, you were supposed to sprinkle a little
Yeah,
bit.
well, lime, they always kept lime in the toilet. A lot of the toilets were built over the salt water anyway.
Oh, so it went
If
right
you
in
were
there.
living near the water.
It went
but
right
it-
in the ocean.
But if you weren't living near the water, then your toilet was,
And you didn't eat any fish that were right off your toilet that you got off.
no,
You went downstream or down
no. We
Okay.
never ate fish that was caught in
in
the harbor.
You never did?
No.
None of the harbor.
No, my dad wouldn't even eat a fish that was off of the point where the graveyard was, which was way up on the land. My dad wouldn't even eat a fish caught off of there. He wouldn't dare eat a berry if it was near the cemetery.
A berry.
A berry, yeah, berries grow
Yeah.
near around the
In
cemetery.
the bushes.
Yeah. No, he wouldn't eat them. He would ask us where you get the berries, and if we told him, he'd say, throw it away. Don't eat them.
Well, you'd eat them.
Well, no, we wouldn't eat them either. Dad wouldn't eat them.
Oh, really?
You're trained like that.
They never got home when we were kids. The berries. Especially
No, we
those
wouldn't
little,
have-
did you ever eat those little wild strawberries?
Yeah.
The little sweet ones? Oh,
There are lots of them home.
boy, they were good.
No, we would never pick berries near the cemetery or anything like that. Dad wouldn't eat mussels off the point out in the ocean near the cemetery. Because the cemetery was up on the land. Dad was my dad had a
He
very
felt that it
delicate
drained.
stomach.
He felt it might drain down
Yeah,
the water.
yeah.
Oh. Well, how old did your dad live? How long did he live?
70.
70. After all that hard work.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
He had
He worked like a slave.
TB, spinal TB.
My dad, I tell you, without Dad, well, of course, Mom wouldn't have had all the youngsters, but
Yeah.
she wouldn't have been able to survive without Dad. Dad used to bring all the water when we weren't around. He'd bring, the wood. Dad made sure the house was always warm
Bake
and
bread.
the cellar is full. My dad used to bake cakes. He'd bake bread. He'd make buns. He was going all the time. He used to wash all the ceilings in the house for Mom, and he sold all the youngsters' clothes. He would cut out all the. They would make about 10 pair of bloomers probably in one night. He would cut them all out, and Mom would sew them, and he would help her string the last again.
What a good
He helped
man.
make quilts. Dad could knit. He knit all of his own socks and his vests and slippers and everything.
What a good man.
And he
You're the
was
one in a million. Huh? I'll bet every husband wasn't like that.
no.
No.
There was some men that were very lazy.
You had a life, I'll tell you.
Well,
But
even-
you would go through it again, I guess. You enjoyed your growing up time there.
Well,
Or
we
if you
didn't
had
know
choice.
any different, I guess. I mean, even before I left home, we did all the ironing, we
Mhm.
did all the dishes, we washed all the floors, we brought the water, we brought in all the wood. All of us, I mean, you're
And the houses were spotless. Her mother
yes. My mom
would take
was
the girls
very
around and
particular.
scrub and everything.
The house was took apart every weekend. All the windows, all the doors, the stove, everything was put out, and the stove was cleaned inside and out. The chimneys were painted. They just used those
Yeah.
silver paint.
Yeah.
And we weren't allowed to use a mop on the floor. We had to get down on our hands and knees and clean it up.
With a
And
scrub brush?
we couldn't afford a scrub brush, so we had boughs, dried boughs tied for a scrub brush.
In a bundle.
Yeah.
Huh. Gee.
And we used to scrub doorsteps with that.
Okay, now, what did you do for fun? You did something.
What we did for fun. We used to go for picnics in the woods. We'd be out fishing at the
Coffee
time. I had a coffee house all my life. And
What's a
homemade.
coffee house?
Like a coffee house is, we had a hen's house. And
Oh, yeah.
when our hens went, I had a coffee house in the toilet first. Because it was like a little house. So I used to have my coffee house in the toilet. And, but it was over the water.
Did you write?
No,
Why do
we
you-
would paper the walls with catalog.
It was a little playhouse.
Yeah, playhouse.
Yeah.
And when the hens left, after we had no hens, I had the hens house for a coffee house.
Yeah.
We had broken dishes
Sure.
and stuff, and whatever we could find, little wood table or whatever. We made our own dolls
Yeah.
with rag, and we used to roll it up and double it and tie a string so you'd have a head part. And we had rope that you would string out for blonde hair. And we had that.
Yeah, and you'd sew that on the head?
Yeah, and we used to make dresses out of old pieces of rag,
Sure,
cloth, whatever we could find.
Little shoes?
Yeah.
What would you
Well,
make the shoes of? Cloth or leather or?
Usually, what we did, no, we did not make shoes. We used to make the dresses long so they would go down over so you wouldn't see the bottom. Because the bottom of the cloth we used to sew it up.
That's cute. That's cute. What did the boys do? Your brothers? They get in trouble. right?
See, I didn't grow up with my brothers. My brothers were all born after I left home.
Oh, I see.
So I can't say that I lived with my brothers because I don't.
But you had plenty of sisters. Yeah, you're good sisters. They've been here. I've seen them. You guys are real close. It's a close family. I'll tell
Yeah,
you.
well, all big
Very-
families are, right?
Well, I don't know. Some of them don't get along.
That's Michael. Most all big families do.